Okay, getting down to it, there's something really crucial about those eyes of yours. And when I'm talking about that, I'm more talking like even if you are blind, consider it the same. Okay? And I'm saying that in advance. Even if you have a deficit, consider it the same. There's something really important about your eyes. You basically have to get the understanding that whatever you put your eyesight on, you technically create and recreate. Going a bit into quantum physics, but it's not really that complex. When you look at it, you create its position. It's now in your memory bank, in your, you know, you're aware of its position. You're kind of sending thought, and metaphysically, you're sending energy to it. Okay? It's in your memory. Imagine that your memory is like a hard drive, and it takes space because you've acknowledged it in a position at a space. Now, with those eyes also comes the aspect of you're going to capture attitudes and various things, details, kind of going, book, phone, and various sub processes or subfolders in that category. So with the phone comes contacts, comes access to YouTube, access to all of this. You see all this scrolling. You kind of imagine that. Now, that on its own tells you that whatever you see and perceive, you're kind of sending energy to. You're keeping a memory or a database of. Okay? That it's also for you to understand two things. There's the database that was spoken about, and this database you started ever since you learned your name. And then there's you, who came into this mind and body. Okay? You were there before. Because you're not the memory bank. This was given to you based on an environment, a society you didn't choose. Not on the physical level. On the soul level, that's a whole different thing. I'm not jumping into that. But you didn't choose it on a physical level. You didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose your country. You didn't choose your memories. You didn't choose your first childhood friend. You didn't choose, well, in a sense, you didn't choose your high school. You didn't choose your school. There's a momentum behind that. There's a lot of things that early on, and let's say prior to school, you didn't choose your parents, you didn't choose your environment, and you didn't choose your time and space. Voila. So, and you also didn't choose your name, unless you changed it later in life, but you didn't choose it. You didn't choose your initial one. So you didn't choose your initial situation. And whatever came from that initial situation are your initial memories, database, and data bank. Also, make sure to use your native language to consider and think about that database. Because from 0 to 8, we all take in that stuff on the subconscious, and usually I know a lot of people stick with their native language up until teenage, until they learn a second language like English or something else. My native language is French, but English, I learned it early on, maybe fifth grade, something like that. I knew I wanted to really excel in that in computers early on, as well as drawing. So that all initial part, native language, because it's all coming to the subconscious part, and you can play between both languages when you look at that part. But when you go back to who you are, prior to all those memories, prior to even making the differentiation between a square and a circle, prior to even knowing colors, you, okay, uninfluenced by the hard drive and the events that you did not choose. So you want to sit down and think about that, because it just puts things into a whole different perspective, especially when you had a rough initial momentum. Because oftentimes you get associated with the memories, the idea, the hard drive, without knowing that this could have been anything else, completely different, if one of the initial values change. Different parents, different location, different best friend, and then the momentum changes. Could have been completely different. And you'll go get stories of people born in different countries and see how different it is. Acknowledge it. But also take time to look at the granularity of your life experience. You're not that. You're not the perception it developed. See? Certain life. A lot of people tend to use their life experience, their career, their diplomas as an excuse, or their religion as an excuse for arguments or acting really cruelly against another, even though all religions kind of say the same at the core. Do unto others as you would want them to do unto you, no exceptions. Well, the thing is, you understand that all other religions kind of say the same thing when you kind of let go of the hard drive. You just kind of go for it and try to learn as much as you can, understanding that all was created by the all. There's no exception, or it would have not been created in its image. So you get that. You once you start detaching from the hard drive for various other things, you just go, hey, how would it feel to play with this kind of exercise? Or how would it feel to go in this country? And then play around with that, to learn that language. You just play around. Because you're not attached. You kind of know that it could have been that. Everything that you lived could have been that, or it could have been a million different things, depending on any changes. And you also realize that you weren't born as that. So you're not attached to it. Something else happens with that. You begin to understand others' point of view from that same premise. So you understand that they're the soul, but like a majority of people, they think they're the hard drive. So they think they're the computer. They're not thinking that they're the user, the soul, that he came before that. So they act, and of course, unfortunately, any work of fiction kind of reinforces that idea, because you're going in a third person that isn't aware of this. It's really rare to find a book where you find a main character which understands this. So you indirectly perpetuate it without choosing to. We didn't fucking know what we didn't fucking know. So you do the same to everyone else because you understand that at that point. You're fully detached. And it's quite a game changer, because it's like, oh, right. Now I get what Bruce Lee was saying. Become like water. Not just one technique, one perspective, one point of view, one way to see things, and one way to filter your life. No, you're like, whoa, I can learn from this. And you always go for what feels better for you and everyone else in a way. But not in the martyrdom way. And not in the assuming that the other person is weak enough that they wouldn't need your input to feel better. It's a balancing thing. But if you always think that you personally need to do something for the other person for them to feel better, then that's subconsciously assuming that, one, they don't know about their own granularity of experience, which tells you what you love, what even more, what you enjoy, various kind of activities and all that. And then two, it's kind of like assuming that this person just needs needs it. Like, this person is weak, so I need to cater to that person. While in reality, it's always a balance. It's always an aspect of, you enjoy the granularity of your own experience to a certain degree. You're detached from it as well to enjoy new experiences, and you also love to mix it up at the same time, and also you do your own mix. But it's kind of madness to continuously, and that goes both ways, expect another or assume that another completely knows the granularity of one's experience. It's madness. They'd have to be inside you with your eyes and your five senses. Gotta be careful, man. Oftentimes this had been in the past had been caution to the wind, and then it came back to bite the person that didn't necessarily see their own momentum of habits and mannerism and moods, and notice the time that they keep placing their moods onto others' hands. Just going, okay, well, it's your fault. You need to do it. You have to do it. When it's like, well, wait a second. How are they supposed to feel your five senses all the time to the granularity of your own experience, to the degree that you pay awareness to it? If you don't, and you're just tweeting away while you're not necessarily noticing your five senses or practicing them, then yeah, of course it's going to go to shit. You're not necessarily going to enjoy life as much because you're wasting time and your senses on a digital thing without proper balance. You're not going to be able to enjoy those other things unless you pay attention to them, and to pay more attention to your five senses as you participate in them. Not just kind of going, standing around, not barely paying attention or paying attention to your phone. Because that's how you dim your senses. Or you used to, remember the Romans. What was it? Food and games. In a sense, yeah, that's what kind of fucked around with their civilization. Who knows how they got consciously, but we're at a point of consciousness where we can look back and see that back then, at that point of consciousness, it didn't help, and it still doesn't. It's just that we're now in this big intercommunication where we're talking between different countries instead of going to war, and we don't see the value of going to war just for an opinion. We're at that much higher point of consciousness where we realize how basic that was, and also, again, we're all soul coming into mind and body. Separate mind and body, but same soul. So we ain't, fighting looks pointless, and the heart tells you. Whenever you hate somebody or hate yourself, it's same variation, or a variation of the same feeling. Do the experiment. Give it a time. Like, seriously, it's not just passive watching of videos. When it comes to yourself, you kind of want to spend that time. And I understand there's maybe a lassitude, or maybe it's a habit that is developed of just watching a video passively and not pressing pause if you don't necessarily get something, or take the time to reflect back on your life or your last few, events, quote unquote, and see what you were thinking that led to the event, what your perception was, or various other things, just testing things out from a video, and understanding, what am I actually ingesting? What am I actually getting from this? What is this actually reflecting back to me? Why am I looking at this? Why do I have this video in front of me? You start asking multiple questions, because you're not passively just letting your life fly by. Because you understand that every civilization that did that, or every person's that did that, just done. And you'll notice a pattern. It's always everyone else's fault. It's always the exterior's fault. It's always society's fault. No. It's just a point where one can't rely. You can't rely. There's a big difference between you need and relying constantly on the exterior to act or be a certain way to feel happy. No, again, that goes back to the granularity of your experience. So, you see how kind of nutty that habit got? and it's not your fault as well. Fiction does that because that's entertaining. You know, if your fiction doesn't have that, it gets to be a bit. Sorry for the blast. I don't mean to put you on blast, but I found it super boring at the time. Pride and Prejudice, the TV series, it was boring to me. But you know, that's just to say, fiction is often made to be entertaining. And it often gets you into that kind of mode of thinking. A character seeks a goal. Often it is another person. That pattern's repeated. Oh, and that your main character will only feel good once they get that other person. Really? Wow. You suck. Okay, joking. But yeah, it's like, oh yeah, I'm only gonna feel good if that happens. Really now? What's funny? You know, you could just make a fart joke, laugh. Oh, aren't you fucking happy right now? This very second. You know? Could be as simple as that. You know? Simple. You can change your own mood at any kind of ways. You know, you just need to take the time, sit down and think about it. You can even pause this video and think about it. You're given time. You've got all the time. Apparently the big cocoa is keeping you inside, so you've got all the time to think about this. Put Netflix to the side. Put the binge watching onto the side, you know? 2020, we're actually getting to understand this. Think about it. That's all your eyes. Well, of course, your ears and your brain, your thinking, your current thinking up to this point, which constantly evolves. So, yo, go fucking Ultra Instinct. And then some. Seriously, you're constantly evolving. When you think, you take time to think and focus about it without judging yourself, because you understand the judgment comes from the hard drive. You're not the fucking hard drive. You just got used to acting, thinking, and talking like you're the hard drive. Fiction. Sorry. And fiction artists do not know. Well, okay, you can't just put it on fiction. It's also an unfortunate consequence / result of our accessibility to entertainment. So, more people, more creation, more entertainment. We just need to collectively cooperate and exchange techniques on how to balance this. Or else we're all going to be drugged up addicts to need my fix. Need. It turns into that. You can push it to the limit. You know, have fun looking at that. Don't take it too seriously. Of course, I want to say that. Don't take it too seriously. Play with it. Find your own style. Your own momentum. Your own time to do this. But I can't really, well, there's two ways I could place this. There's, well, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it now. Why not? And then there's, well, next time something's going to happen, a repeated pattern, are you going to do it now? And then there's, when something big's going to happen, are you going to do it now? Well, okay, wait. Just flush that. It's kind of considering that, but also at your own pace. So it's a balance. It's like, especially if you notice your mood going all over the place. You know, you wake up every morning and you're used to going, something in the news. Well, want to do it now? Pause the video. Just do it now. Oh, and that's that. What are you going to do? You know, those are questions to ask yourself. Also, asking yourself separating from the hard drive. So, be nice. You didn't fucking know. or you didn't pay attention to it. All right, 2020 took us 2,000 years, and then some. All right, we got this. So take the time. Also, you can't whine about. It's true to a certain degree. I mean, if you being a bit cheeky about it, you can't whine about it afterward because you didn't take the time. So kind of use it as a sneaky little pressure on yourself or on the mind. It's not you who's doing that. It's not you consciously saying, I don't want to build my future and feel great about myself. You know, it's not you saying that. The hard drive, whatever program you didn't choose, the momentum of your life that you didn't choose, you know, or you did. We'll see. Consciously, you choose. Own up to it and not at the same time. Non-duality. Have fun with that. You can do that. Yeah. You didn't choose the momentum, but you did the actions. Okay. So, that thing, it's often stopping you from actually doing that work. Because it's like, oh, it's impossible. Oh, I'm not going to do it. Oh, I can't do it. Right, all the bullshit they took from television. Literally, all the bullshit they took from television. Because that's the hero story. It's got to be hard. Hard. Ah, so hard. I got to get the girl. I got to get the person. Or I'm not happy. You know, it's repeated over and over. So you didn't choose it. But when it comes to choosing your life goals and all that, it'll act the same way. Repetition. Subconscious, it works like that. Now we figured it out. We kind of collectively as a planet chipped in and went, oh my god. And we're like, yeah! We got some cool tech. You know, this is some planetary co-op. No joke. Fuck, we got internet. Why you think we wouldn't have planetary co-op? Man, PvP scrubs. They didn't choose the PvP. It was the initial momentum. Imagine that. Like, that's a great analogy. It's like you're thrown into a game that's already PvP from your birth because your parents are playing PvP. Your environment plays PvP. Nobody thought, hey, wait, there's co-op. What? You know, it's an initial momentum. It's the only game you saw. You didn't see any other games. And you're stuck to it. Familiar. Unless you choose to understand that you're not the game. You're the player. You're the soul. So you can choose whatever other games you want to play. You're not stuck to the initial loadout. It's that simple. You're not stuck with the solo character build. You can change that shit. You've got choice. Just roll a different momentum. Alright, so take that time. Then have fun with your custom build. Your selection. Your choice. Fully understanding that whatever you throw out is coming right back at you. So you've got initial control over that. And whatever habits you've got in you that's preventing you from that, you're on the seek and destroy for it. But at your own pace. Do it for fun. Have that fun. Allow yourself to have that fun. It's not serious business. Don't go, oh my god, you're going to get a grade for this. And you're not going to get a diploma. Shame on you. Fuck that. These people, they just do it onto themselves. And remember, it always comes from one's perception. So, see what I mean? Whether you criticize somebody or yourself, it always comes from one perception. It's not the other person. That was a lie. And also fiction. Sorry. Hey, I draw fiction, so I kind of have to go, sorry, not my intention. Not any of fiction's intention. That's a big collective planetary balance that needs to be done with those devices and every tool of fiction. Take control of your brain. You have one. You have a mind and a body. You're not those. Now you get it. Or do you? If you got questions, post them down below. Share this video. Do it. Need it. See, gotta joke around with this. Do it if you want. Do it if you learn something. You know what? Yeah. If you learn something, fucking do it. Because then you're helping someone else learn. And if they don't get it, you'll have your interpretation of it to help them. Which is automatically what does happen when you view a video. You kind of get an interpretation of what's being said based on the definitions of your words. And that's all the hard drive. And that's fine. You'll just piece up multiple definitions. That's how we figure shit out, man. You're not stuck to one. You're not stuck to the hard drive. I gotta thank Side Voodoo. Great for that. A whole list of other people. Abraham Hicks as well. Tony Robbins as well. Like, whole shout out. I'll drop the shout out at one point. But I gotta thank all of them. And all the past writers, inventors, and all that. Straight up. Planet, universe, all that. Because looking at as much as these information as I could, it became more and more obvious that the planet was kind of saying the same thing. It's just that you want to get in the habit of looking through multiple perspectives and lights. And that's why I'm really thankful that they're there. Because cycling it through you, having your own meaning, your own perception of that perception, well, you're able to kind of see an interconnection between multiple types of knowledge. And it becomes more and more obvious how they mean for you to feel. Because we're all separated by language and definitions, but the feeling is what we're trying to transmit. That's why fiction is really good at that too. It's just that collectively, humanitarian, we don't necessarily want to let fiction pull our feelings all over the place for logics that's not as evolved as now we currently are. We're quite evolved. Seriously, if you manage to get this, booyakashara. You know, you just play around. You don't stay stuck to a certain one linear way of doing things and living your life. You just explore. And from that point of view, you discover a lot. You discover a lot. A lot. So life doesn't become boring, and you're not needing anyone else. You know, you're not forcefully needing out of anyone else. You play co-op, but it's not a need, you know, an absolute, a survival need. So that's what's fun, really, about this current time and space, this now, you know, about 2020. And realizing that collectively, you know, it's fucking cool. Now, that tells me and to look forward to 2021. Think about it. People having just fun. And then inspiring other people. Seriously, there's no need. And there's no assumption of someone else's granularity of experience. You know how granular that shit is. You'll never fucking know. For the other person, you'll never know whether you'll tweet in the toilet. Nobody knows what you tweet in the toilet. They won't even know what the porcelain feels like. See, 5 senses. It's that simple. So, what's this habit of assuming things from other? Oh, right. Fiction. Just like the news. You're not there. You're not present. It's fiction. You're not there with all 5 senses. You're imagining what's being told. Fiction. Fiction. We got used to it. You watch a lot of movies, then you go get your 7-Up of news. Then you go back to the other binging. You know, we gotta balance this. We're balancing it. It's a practice. It's just like video games. It's a practice. Meaning, you take time to balance that shit and see how it impacts your life. And you also remember that, yeah, we have access to a lot. It's normal. It's just like the physical weight increasing because we have access to more comfort, and we don't necessarily, it's not like back where you had to ride a horse, and get that physical exercise seriously. You consider that in a momentum over an amount of years, and yeah, that puts you in shape. But it's a need that's no longer there. So there's various things that became easier, more accessible, yet there's a flip side to it. So it's all about balancing. It's simple. You just kind of want to take that time to do it within you, and you don't impose it on everyone else. It's an internal work. And when you do it, you'll notice. You'll meet more and more people with that internal work done. Here to help you, inspire you, play around, co-op. So it's not a race. And it's not an aspect of privilege over another. It's taking the time. Don't fall for the labels. Words from the hard drive. See, that easily taking your emotions all over the place. Words from the hard drive. You think you're the hard drive. That's why this reacts. You're not a hard drive. You're not letting its perception, its wording, its definitions of everything else around you control your life. You're the player. You're not the hard drive. But a lot of people are kind of, oh, this is my trigger. No, it's the hard drive's trigger. That's not you. You've got no triggers. You're born without triggers. You're not that. You're born without it. You learn it afterward. So, remember, power of your eyes, man. And other senses. But your eyes, just perceiving it one way and repeating that perception leads your life to a repeated cycle of feeling a certain way. But you're not the perception, so you can change that shit. What, just because other people don't want to change their own perception, you shouldn't do it? Really? Lemming? No. We're learning about it. We're getting to that point. We're not falling for the... we're not making the mistakes the Romans did with the games. And the bread. All over. Meh. No, that's staying in the hard drive. That's not you. So we're not repeating that mistake, and we've collectively came to a point where we understand this. It's really cool. It's awesome. More and more people are sharing this around the world. So different lenses of perception. Go around, shop for them. Get them for free. They're on YouTube. And then you'll get it. We're all saying the same thing, man. We're all playing co-op. The people who aren't, they're stuck in the hard drive. You know what the momentum is, so you can feel for them. Sometimes it's like, no. I mean, this. Sometimes. Happens. It does. But hey, we're changing that. More rapidly than you'd think. So yeah. Share it, man. Have fun. Play around. Take your time. But do take the time. It's your life. And everyone else that you plan to impact around you. But initially, it's your life. It always is. How do you want to impact other people? And how do you want other people to impact you? Always reflecting. How do you want other people to treat you? Because that's how you're going to treat them. How do you want them to think about you? Because that's how you think about them. Vice versa. It all comes from the same perception. Same perception. Always. So, it's you, but it's not you. Because you're the player. You're not the hard drive. But you got to take care of your hard drive. It's not a perfect square. I just noticed. You gotta fuck the hard drive. No! You wanna play around with that. But, see, if people can't take a joke, then still in the hard drive. Okay, let's use another form, another shape. Still in the hard drive. But you're not the hard drive, you're the player. See, trigger free. Trigger free trick or treat. And then I thought about an old Dave Chappelle joke. Oh wow, I thought about an old Dave Chappelle joke. So that was gonna turn out really triggering. Trigger free. Trigger free. Trick or treat. But still, play. See, I wanna play around. Don't take yourself too seriously. You're not the hard drive. It's not a single thing. There's multiple things. Just go. Do it. Take the time. Like, and you can also play around and ask yourself, okay, why didn't I take the time before? Oh, gotta go fast, gotta go fast. Okay, but you're going fast where? Don't take the time to set up where? To your custom liking, to your custom preference, to your custom mood. What you want. What you want to bring out. Okay, that's it. I'm not making this an hour. This was my challenge. Under 40 minutes. I did it. Oh, still, have fun, play, and take the time. Also share, like and subscribe. Do it.